In this in-class assignment, we're going to look at the placement of windows in traditional brick facades. And there's a couple of challenges that we face as new designers. One is the changing technology, the kind of bricks we're using, and the other one is the software that we're using to generate our images. And so I wanted to kind of address that kind of technology issue in a quick exercise. So here we have some traditional brick building facades. You'll notice that the window is set back from the face of the brick. Notice in general, just notice the overall hierarchy of massing. We have nice columns, spandrels, a real sense of depth. Another beautiful facade on the right here. With a whole lot of different levels and massing elements into the facade, and really generated from placements of bricks, multiple layers of bricks. And then one more example, I kind of want to drive this idea of the imagery of traditional brickwork home, so that when we move on to our in-class exercise, we'll have a good feeling for what I'm talking about here. So once again, we have, note the depth of the window set into the brick facade. And today we're starting to work with materials that actually don't have thickness to them. Let me go ahead to this one. This is a thin veneer brick. For all intents and purposes, it's basically in a field installation impossible to distinguish from traditional layup of brick. And it's becoming quite popular. You can also use it in advanced wall systems, and these are for moisture control and really beyond the scope. But leave it to say we're using these thin brick techniques, and that's problematic unless we pay a lot of attention to how we work with it. And so here's what would be considered a mock-up of a proposed building facade. It's typically on the construction site, and it kind of indicates how you're going to detail or deal with all of the detail elements of your building facade. So here we have an opening with a lintel above it and a sill below, but you can see the stepping back of the brick. You can see that you're seeing the edge thickness of the brick. And if you look up here, you'll notice that up on the top here, this is actually a thin veneer brick system. So at some point, the architect had to specify that he wanted these unique bricks that have a return edge on them to be used at that window detail or that setback to continue that illusion of that brick having a thickness to it. And so this is my prime example of a left and right comparison of what happens when we move these thin brick systems and the problems that happen with them. So here we have on the left a traditional building, with a sill, actually a brick lintel, an arched brick lintel. But you'll notice the reveal of the window, the setback of the window, the exposure of that brick. And over on the right-hand side, we have a thin veneer brick system. Actually, I think this is even more faux than that. It's actually sheets of brick. And we can see now where we're doing the window detailing completely different. And most people wouldn't catch this as being inauthentic, but this is typically we would not have wood molding over the placement of a window into a brick facade. So there I am highlighting those two different conditions, and then I'm zooming in so that you can notice it. So one of the things that becomes apparent is there's a sense of flatness to this surface. You'll notice here what's happening when the window is placed down here. There's no sense of depth to the brick. And that's a condition we really want to avoid, or at least realize that we're doing it in error when we do it and try to mitigate it as much as possible. So our assignment will be to actually place a window, and actually incorrectly with a trim around it. And then we'll step through and modify that to what would be a final appearance of it by removing the trim, setting it back into the opening, and finally adding a lintel and a sill detail to it. So we'll pick that up next when we move into the CAD BIM component of this video.